Hey guys, Matt here. I'm at Daikoku parking station in Tokyo. I'm driving this. It's the Nissan Roox, and I think it's absolutely amazing. Let's take a look at it in this review, and thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing too. Let's go. Now, if you aren't aware of the K-car class, it's a specific type of vehicle sold in Japan for Japan, and it's one of the most popular vehicles in this market. This is tiny. I'm going to show you the dimensions in a sec, but it also has a tiny engine, and I'll tell you about that shortly. And that's what makes it a K-car. Now, this is not going to be sold outside of Japan unless you go through an aftermarket provider that will be able to bring one in on the grey import scheme. And it is very appealing, and in Japan, as a new vehicle, it's about $20,000 for a high-spec one, which is amazing considering the size and practicality and what you're getting. Actually, let's go check it out in a bit more detail. Now, if you aren't aware, the K-van scene is, well, very popular in Japan. Just have a look at the dimensions of this car. You'll see them on your screen. And yes, that's a Jimny behind it, and it's about the same length. So it is a very small car, but very practical. I'll show you that in a sec. Yes, it does have sliding doors, and the back of it is gorgeous. I think it's one of the coolest looking little cars, and there's a good reason. It's the most popular K-van in Japan. Now, let's have a look in the boot here. Be careful. If you're tall, I'm 6 foot, well, you might have to duck to fit under the tailgate. But let's have a look at the boot space, because it is very clever, and it's changeable. So basically, you can slide these seats. So you've got little boot space, or you can have lots of boot space, as you can see, which will be very practical, or you can even slide them back and fold them down like so, as you can see here, and you can turn it basically into a little van, which is awesome. And in here, there's no spare, but you do get a tire repair kit. I think this is a very clever use of space, but let's check out the interior. Okay, let's have a look at the interior of this very tiny car, and it is impressive in terms of the textures, the finishes, the design. Just have a look at these seats. They are beautiful, I reckon. Nicely adjustable and lounge-like comfort as well. This is a proper cushy sofa experience. I like the materials on the doors too, and this finish up on the dashboard adds some wow factor. And this is a high grade one, so it's got some colorful flair as well. It is a very cool experience, I have to say. I even love the little bit of lightness on the steering wheel. The steering wheel is very easy to get your head around in terms of the controls. You've got the screen setup that you would expect, digital instrumentation, and stuff like CarPlay, sat-nav, and much more on this screen. I'm not going to dive too much into the details here, but one thing I don't necessarily love are these controls here. They look like they're going to get plenty of fingerprints on them, and well, it seems pretty reactive in terms of the controls. If you want to take control of those sorts of elements of the car, you got a drive mode thing there as well, so you can go between eco, standard, and sport. And yes, otherwise it's a very cool design interior. They've got some storage down there in front of the driver's knees. You've also got storage down here with USB ports and HDMI ports. There's a little pull-out section here where you can rest a phone if you want to. A glove box down below, little cup holders up the top there, bottle holders in the doors, and the experience of having a huge bay window in front of you is really quite cool. You've got a auto dimming mirror, these dinky little sun visors, which is cool, and yes, vanity mirrors in there without illumination. Up here you'll find your lights and controls, including connected services, and there's a grab handle too to make it easier to get in and out of. But one thing I really do love about this car is the step in is quite low, so if you are mobility challenged, that will be welcome, I would say. And the fact that you've got the old electronic sliding back door means that if you've got little kids, it's going to be heaps easier for them to get in and out. Now let's check out this experience in here. Okay, now this seat is set to where I usually sit at 6 foot tall. And look how much space I've got here. Loads and loads. And yes, if I want to, the seat does slide forward to give even more boot space, but still offer plenty of human space as well. Headroom, well, I mean, unsurprisingly, it's amazing. There's so much space above my head. If I put the seat back, well, It's amazing. I've got a grab handle up there. There are overhead vents as well with a fan controller. I've got these little pop-out desk parts as well with cup holders in there too. So if you're on the longer trip, you'll be able to basically have things taken care of for you in terms of entertainment. There are sunshades in this version. You've also got electric windows. So they're locked at the moment, but you've got them. It's a sliding door as I showed you. And look, you can also easily adjust this seat forward if you want to make yourself a bit more room in the back here. Speaking of the room in the back, it is a two-seat back seat experience, but honestly it's pretty impressive in terms of the amount of human capacity that there is back here. And yeah, you can also adjust these seats back if you want to lie down and have a bit more of a comfortable experience. There's ISOFIX points as well and adjustable headrests, a light up the back there. It's a very, very clever space and extremely comfortable too. I don't know why we don't get cars like this in Australia. It's super duper smart. It's the tiniest bonnet you ever did see. Have a look at that. What a cutie. It's also got a tiny, tiny little engine, a 658cc 3-cylinder petrol engine with a turbo on this version. And it's also got a decent amount of grunt. Well, decent if you think small numbers are decent. Comes with a CVT, it's front wheel drive, and it has some amazing efficiency claims. We're talking between 4 and 5 litres per 100 Ks. Because it's tiny, it's light, and it's light on power. But let's go drive it and I'll show you what it's like. It is an absolute cracking thing. Maybe not to all tastes. In fact, I'm certain it won't be to all tastes, but it is really, really fun. I have to say, driving on the wild streets of Tokyo, which is one of the biggest metropolises in the entire planet, well, I've never done it before, so I am finding this to be pretty easy to deal with, and a lot of that comes down to the fact that this car is so easy to see out of and around. So you just have so much glass to make it easy to glance out the side. Your mirrors are good, and there's plenty of good usability when it comes to the tech too. I love it. I absolutely love it. It might be a little bit perverse. I know there's people out there who would think that a 3-cylinder 660cc engine is not going to be enough, but it's turbocharged and it sounds awesome as well. I mean, coarse, but awesome. It's teamed up to a CVT automatic transmission, and I know there's people out there who bloody hate those, but I think for this type of application, this is a very punchy feeling little powertrain. Sure, it's not a firecracker. It is not going to blow your socks off, but what it will do is move you around with, well, decent torque. Not a whole lot. If I put my foot flat, that's flat. Yeah. It's not necessarily fast. In fact, it's not even close to fast. It's slow, but I love it. I absolutely love this raspy little 3-pot. It's so cool. And the fact that it is turbocharged and the CVT in combination with that means that on little moments where you just go, oh, I need a bit more, you can sort of get that reasonably quickly in terms of the torque and the progression, because the CVT actually manages progress pretty well. So the powertrain is not a powerhouse, but I do think that it's a fitting sort of engine and transmission combination for a car like this, built for a city like this. And I mean, if you live urban, somewhere like Melbourne or Sydney, or any of the other major capital cities, I think this would still have enough grunt to get the job done for you. Don't go expecting it to feel overly thrusty at higher speeds. I've done a little tiny bit of that so far, but it is certainly a low speed friendly car, more than open speed and highway driving. I am on a raised highway thing at the moment, and we're about to go a little bit faster, but I can tell you that it's more about the stop-start stuff. What about the rest of the drive experience? Well, it is surprisingly well sorted and honestly, it drives better than I was expecting that it would. I thought it would feel a little bit tinny and clumsy and not very well sorted in terms of the suspension or the steering, but I have to say the steering is really good. It's responsive and nicely weighted. It's very light and agile feeling, while still offering you a pretty good level of controllability, especially lower speeds. Obviously, it does a lot of its best work around town, but at higher speeds on motorways and stuff like I've just been driving on, it does seem to have a pretty good level of handling capability. The wheelbase is relatively long for the size of the car, and I think the tall body element is something that might be peculiar for some Aussies, but it's handling this big loop that we're doing right now pretty easily. And when it comes to the ride comfort, well, I've been surprised. Honestly, I didn't expect it to feel accomplished in terms of the way that it handles lumps and bumps in the surface, but it is very, very good. Like, it's excellent when it comes to the body control and the bump control, and I really do think that it's one of the funnest, coolest, most interesting little cars I have driven. What a cracker! Now, obviously, the efficiency numbers are pretty impressive for this car, and like, I'm not doing a full efficiency test here, but on your screen you'll see what I saw over this short drive in Yokohama and Tokyo area to see what this car is like, and I'm impressed. I think that this kind of car with this kind of engine is going to be pretty appealing. And if you're thinking about grey importing something like this is a good little car. And I think the efficiency is very impressive too. I tell you what, I bloody love this thing. It looks good to me. There's no doubt about that. The design is awesome. The interior practicality is unbelievable. For such a tiny car, they've packed in loads and loads of smarts here. It's pretty efficient and very, very good to drive too. So what do you think about it? Would you consider a car like this? Have your say in the comments section below. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you when I see ya.